I am Smartin47, and today I would like to present to you Transformers Armada Nemesis Prime and his Minicon Run-Over, both built with LEGO. This is a simple duplicate of my successful Transformers Armada Optimus Prime MOC, but this time just the truck cab and back in black. Nemesis Prime was the easiest Transformers Armada character to build with LEGO next. And being a copy of my Armada Optimus, this MOC carries the same flaws as the original, such as the gap for the thighs being visible in truck mode. But, that said, all the black hides this issue pretty well, especially from multiple angles. And the classic Nemesis Prime colors do a great job of bringing out the truck mode silhouette here, especially with the red windshield and headlights. And of course, the wheels can roll. Taking a quick look at the jet mode of his Minicon Run-Over, who is an obvious duplicate and reverse name of the Minicon Overrun that goes with Optimus Prime. I decided to give this version of the Rocket Jet Minicon not only the red windshield that it always came with, but also the purple trim that shipped with the Tentacle version of the original toy all those years ago. I always thought that much better matched the black and teal color scheme of Nemesis Prime. And of course, just like the original version, we can take the wings and fold them down, then flip back the tail fin to mount a gun turret to Nemesis Prime's truck mode that is on a single stud rotation. I've always liked this setup on the original Deluxe Class Armada Optimus Prime, and I'd say that Nemesis Prime is no different. Once again, Nemesis Prime's black, red, and teal color scheme meshes very nice with the red, gray, and purple color scheme of Run-Over. I also have a couple other accessories for Nemesis Prime, but they don't really go anywhere in his truck mode. For example, his Vorpal Saber can plug onto the back of the truck bed, but it ends up sticking out the side a bit, so I prefer to leave it off. And then this bundle of bionicle ball joints doesn't have anywhere to attach to and cannot even store underneath the cab. To transform Nemesis Prime to his robot mode, I'm going to flip his feet back, lift him up, bring them forward, then stand him up. I'm sure you might notice the dark matrix sitting there. Then I'm going to take the headlights, flip them up, bring the whole chest grill down. Then I'm going to spin him around and flip out these panels covering his hands. Then I'm going to lift up his arm, pull out this little stopper here, slide the whole shoulder assembly down. Then I'm going to lift up the arm, pull out the little stopper, slide the whole shoulder assembly down. Then straighten up the head, move the forearms forward, straighten up the hands. Then spin them around, pull back these panels, untab the skirt panels, then split the legs, straighten everything out, and he's done. I'm pretty happy with how well the Nemesis Prime colors came out on my Armada Optimus Prime MOC. While the red headlights on the chest are based on the original Hasbro toy, the rest of the exact setup of black, teal, and dark gray borrow pretty much entirely from the original Tentacle version of the toy. Lastly, since the faceplate I used for Armada Optimus Prime did not come in dark gray, I decided to recreate the moment from the show where Nemesis Prime had a battle-damaged face with loose wires hanging out. Makes him seem a lot more menacing. For articulation, he's got a universal shoulder joint with 360-degree rotation, double jointed elbow, forearm rotation, ball joint wrist, and articulated fingers. Then his legs and knees can bend 90 degrees with rotation and ankle tilt. The feet can move back but not forward. Then moving his arm and skirt panels out of the way, he can do almost the full splits, and his legs can move as far back as realistically possible. He does not have any waist swivel, and lastly his head can look up and then rotate on a single stud connection. As you can see, LEGO Armada Nemesis Prime can do a lot of angry, menacing, and aggressive poses. And in a feral rage, he is known for running at his enemies on all fours, much like a gorilla. And he can still attack from range with his wrist-mounted smokestack blasters. For his accessories, we'll start with the easily accessible Dark Matrix as seen earlier. This Dark Matrix is not as interesting to look at as the Matrix of Leadership, and I should have made it trans pink, as that's what Nemesis Prime had in the Armada comic. There, it was actually called the Doomstone. However, in the Armada cartoon, Nemesis Prime was not shown to have a matrix of any sort, so this will be the last we see of it for this video. Speaking of the cartoon, however, that leads me to his next accessory, this bundle of bionicle ball joints. What I'm going to do is disconnect Nemesis Prime's forearm, then attach it to this string of ball joints, and then attach that to his upper arm to recreate the regenerating nanite tentacle arm he had in the show. This was a crazy ability that Nemesis Prime had, as it could reach out and grab other characters from afar, and even during battle, when his arm was severed and he suffered other injuries, he could just completely regrow it all back, making him extremely difficult to defeat. His next accessory is his Vorpal Saber. For him to be able to hold it, I have to pull out the fingers, move the thumb down, and then spin around the handle so that the clip can attach to his trigger finger. I'm not particularly satisfied with how the Vorpal Saber turned out. The blade is a bit hollow and not very sharp looking, and the connection to the hands is pretty loose, making it very difficult to keep it stable for taking pictures. I also really wanted to make the Air Assault Minicon team that forms the Dark Saber instead, but unfortunately didn't get around to it. But I figure I can always upgrade that later, and I just wanted to share what I had come up with so far. Anyways, his last and most important accessory is the jet blaster that his Minicon Run-Over turns into. This one I'm definitely satisfied with how well it came out, especially with the first version, Overrun, with Optimus Prime. This weapon can be held by Nemesis Prime the same way the Vorpal Saber is, by moving the thumb back and then taking the handle, spinning it around to reveal a clip that attaches to the trigger finger. And while Nemesis Prime can certainly dual wield both his weapons, I have a soft spot for the Minicon Jet Blaster by itself. I've always been a big fan of this since Overrun came with the original Deluxe Class Armada Optimus Prime, and it's no different with Nemesis Prime here. I just find it way too cool and stylish as a Transformer weapon. And one last thing that Run-Over can do with Nemesis Prime is attach to his back in jet mode. And then that gives Nemesis Prime a nice little jetpack so it can fly. To transform Run-Over the robot mode, we're going to take the tail fin and put it up to the back, fold the wings back, straighten up the legs, take the arms, bring them forward, move them up, wiggle them down, bring them forward, wiggle them down, then fold the whole thing down, and there you go. I know this is slightly inaccurate to the actual Transformer figure, but in my opinion, the fin being folded up on the back and the chest being folded down on the front gives this LEGO MOC a lot more character. And I can always adjust the positioning of these things to be accurate if necessary. For articulation, the shoulder has outward movement, rotation you saw earlier, elbow joint, waist rotation, legs can move forward and back, and then bend with a little bit of rotation, and then that's pretty much it. And then one thing I like to do with his chest is point it outward, and this will give him an attack mode, so he can serve as kind of like a little heavy gunner and better support Nemesis Prime in his conquests. So anyway, that is LEGO Transformers Armada Nemesis Prime. An easy duplicate that I actually had done several months ago and I'm only just now posting. And yes, in case you're all wondering, he does transform into the Super Mode torso. I just don't have anything for him to combine with yet, at least for now. Anyways, thanks for watching and God bless.